For me and the Lord, we got an understanding.
We're on a mission from God.
They shouldn't have given you ashy blokes YouTube.
Cursed be the ground for our sake. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for us. For out of the ground we were taken, for the dust we are. And to the dust we shall return.
I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault. I'm done.
All right, good people. Some more punching the clock time for you. I said I probably was going to do this today because it's been swirling around it hasn't been quite a week because me and Snowman actually talked about this because Snowman made the play-by-play call on that game, and when it happened, we didn't think anything of it. It was, you see take fouls like that in basketball, man, for the last 50 years. It's no big deal. You get yourself up, you brush yourself off, and go shoot your free throws, right? And it's one thing. It's one thing about the women in the WNBA, man. They overreact to everything, and because something really severe where she should have fought, because Alyssa Thomas choke slammed her to the ground, okay? And she laid there, and she didn't get up to go fight, man. She laid there and walked it off, okay? And she didn't say anything after. I think she's kind of more afraid of Alyssa Thomas. So there is that, that black girl magic want to fight white girls. But anyway, let's go ahead and welcome some people, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Martin Muhammad, what's going on, man? So let me get some practice swings in. Okay. Quentin, what's going on? Black Mills, what's going on? Kevin, Tao, what's going on? Savant, Michael, what's going on? Not really. People think Jim Crow. Now, don't just say this real quick. People think Jim Crow was about white men's hatred of black men. That's not what Jim Crow. Jim Crow was about putting you back into semi-slavery because they needed to make money. Jim Crow was about money. It was not about morals. Okay, not about morals. It's about making money. Because if they didn't want you, they'd have shipped you out of the country. There's my trust. What's going on with my Apple? What's going on, Toya? Snowman here. I know this will be a good one. In a sense, you need to be just a bit more. I'm here with the lineup card. I heard that. I was just talking about, we went over this, okay? And see, Instant Media beaming in on 7. What's going on, Don? Black Mills, what's up? Hard Bottom Shoes, what's going on? I see you got 3K on your last simulcast. There's the Woo Man Charles, what's happening? Louis, what's going on? Turtle Bitcoin, what's going on? Yeah, Wagner. Clark, what's going on? Hey, Turtle Bitcoin Bitcoin looked like it was in a double top. Did it fall back down or what? Or did it rise again? Clark, what's going on? All-time high? Okay. Eddie, what's going on? Because of the what's called a tariff fight and a trade war going on, that's probably why Bitcoin's going off right now. DC dollar cost average. I'm a trader, man. I'm a trader. You'd have made a ton more money if you had traded. Finding Made Alive, what's going on? The Black Toxic, what's going on? Galen, what's going on? Captain Obvious, what's going on? Mr. Snazzy, what's going on? Who's winning the finals? I have no clue. It depends on what happens with the Knicks. I think whatever happens with the Knicks, I think Knicks might win their first championship in a while. They just may. It seems like it's their year. MS Delta, what's happening? Saint Cyr, what's going on? Shannon Green. I'm going OKC, lockdown D, and explosive offense. Okay, we'll see. I mean, I haven't really followed it this year, so your guess is probably better than mine. Philip, what's going on? Nixon 7. We'll see. Knicks have been, Knicks act like they're the juggernaut right now. Ghetto Knot, what's going on? Micah L, what's going on? Dayron, what's going on? Doc, what's happening? Let's see. B Rain Wash, what's happening? Age of Machines, checking in. Willie R, what's happening? The Watcher, what's going on? Navone. Michael Ross, I said I like watching female college softball. WNBA not so much. It's getting better, I can say that. Okay. One thing, when you get a transformative player that comes into college, it comes into an arena, people start adjusting their games. So I think Caitlin Clark has the women adjusting their games. Knicks over OKC in 6. We'll have to see when they get there. I might even watch that series. Pan the Man, what's up? J Mar, what's going on? Kelvin. And that is it. All right, let's go ahead and get started. My first one is, let's go ahead and get to the incident in itself, okay? Let's get to the incident itself. Let's start with that, okay? Like I said, when we watched, because we were actually watching the game, and when we first saw it, we thought it was just a take foul, and it was no big deal. In fact, me and Snowman knew as soon as she got the ball, Caitlin Clark was going to run over and grab her and foul her. We knew Caitlin Clark was going to foul her, even before she even took a step. Me and Snowman can tell you, we knew she was going to get fouled. It was no big deal, okay? No big deal. And Angel, I don't know, Baltimore girls are dramatic, so and Angel Reese is really dramatic.
Clark racing ahead, zips it to Bonner, spinning, wanted a whistle, didn't get it. Rebecca Allen, too strong on a 3. And look out, Kaylin.
See, that was, if you look at the foul, she didn't shove her, she didn't take her to the ground. It's just a regular old take foul. That's why Clark was walking away. Regular old take foul.
Too strong on a 3.
Regular take foul.
Look out, Kaylin Clark pushes Angel Reese, and Angel Reese gets right up into Caitlin Clark. Afterwards has something to say as Clark walks away. We know there are always increased eyeballs, energy, and attention.
And she acted like the girl clubbed her, and this is a gang fight because she still want to fight. Okay.
Attention around the matchups between Reese and Clark, and Angel Reese is.
She's still walking over there like, hold me back. Okay. Please get the likes up, folks. Please give me a like. You can't give me $1, give me a like. That's Angel Reese. That is Megan Thee Stallion playing the basketball. That's what Angel Reese is.
Still going after Caitlin Clark in the
Now watch
aftermath.
this.
Everyone in the arena had to know this foul was coming.
Yeah.
As soon as you saw Angel Reese wide open, you knew
Yeah, it's a take
Caitlin
foul.
Clark
It's a take foul, okay?
was going to come in and take that foul.
Well, tension's high a moment ago after a hard foul from Caitlin Clark on Angel Reese that Angel took exception
That wasn't even a hard foul.
to. So initially, Angel pushes Natasha Howard. Caitlin Clark points out the no call. Then
That's not a hard
she applies
foul.
a hard foul on Reese.
That wasn't even a hard foul. If she hadn't flopped, Caitlin probably would have held her up. She did the most over nothing, exactly.
Reese gets up right away to get in the face of Clark. Aaliyah Ball.
If I was Caitlin, man, if I was Caitlin, and I was willing to take a fine and take a day off, man, I'd have punched that girl in the face.
Austin ends up getting between them. You'll see on this angle, the initial part seems okay from Clark, but then there's a shove at the end that I think should be upgraded to a flagrant one because that seemed like unnecessary contact from Clark.
Yeah, I agree with you. And she goes in. There is a little bit extra there from Caitlin Clark in terms of the foul. It's definitely a hard foul. It's not a foul that's putting somebody in a position to get injured. But yes, I think it should be upgraded to a flagrant on Caitlin Clark because that left arm as it wraps around and
right.
pushes.
The initial, you understood what Caitlin was doing initially because she sees a wide open layup. You'd rather put Reese in the line.
After review, the on-court ruling of a personal foul on Caitlin Clark has been upgraded to a flagrant foul penalty 1. In addition, there is a double technical on Boston and Reese, which offsets.
A double technical. Yeah.
So there you go. The initial contact from Clark would have been a common foul, but that little extra shove at the end.
You'll see it from her left hand.
Right. Remember that little extension there.
Yep.
All you need is for the foul to be unnecessary, for it to rise to the criteria for it to be a flagrant foul penalty 1. And you get a better angle of it here. That little
push at the
is
end,
unnecessary. That's why it's a flagrant foul penalty 1 on Clark. Then Reese gets up, and that interaction between Boston and Reese results in offsetting technicals.
Now, see, she got upset over that, right? I'm gonna show you one where she should have gotten upset and she didn't. Okay, I'm gonna show you one where she should have got upset and she didn't. She didn't even get close to being upset. I imagine how a legend Clark would have become if she had turned around and slapped Reese. I mean, if you're gonna get upset over a take foul and you're gonna come after me, I'd squarely punched her in her nose, man. Okay, basketball play calls can be BS sometimes. No, we're gonna show you one on Angel Reese where she didn't even get up. She didn't get up and fight where she should have. I thought she was gonna get up and fight on this one. Okay, this is one where Alyssa Smith dumped her on her head and she didn't do squat. Okay.
Well, you see Angel Reese trying to come in. Oh my goodness, she had her hand around Angel Reese's neck area.
Time she went down and wasn't able to get back into the play defensively. Then the arm from Alyssa Thomas.
Well, you see Angel Reese trying to come in. Oh my goodness, she had her hand around Angel Reese's neck.
Now see, with that one, did she get up and fight over that one? Did she get up and fight over that one? She didn't get up and fight over that one. See, she did the most over that little, even if it was a push, that little over the little take foul, okay? The little take foul. And she got upset. And so what's been going on lately, okay, is this is this now it's blown up into this race thing, okay? Now, black women are coming on TikTok and Twitter talking about black men need to read the room and support this black woman, and Indiana's unsafe, and there's all kind of racial slurs been thrown around in the arena and stuff like that. All these lies making it a racial thing, a little common take foul. And like I think Stephen A. Smith said the same thing. It's no big deal because it's a black and white player. It's because it is these two players. But the thing is, what they want to do is make this into a race thing. Now, what do you think about Ryan Clark? And we're getting ready to talk about that. Which is something else I think is unnecessary. I know people are doing it for clicks and views, but I think it's getting out of hand. D Brown, calm down, man. Calm down. Angel Reese does need to work on her game. That's not even a question about it, okay? If you know basketball, she need to work on her game. She's falling. Come on, bro. That foul was so soft. Black woman's personality on display. So tough until it gets real. Like when Alyssa Thomas dumped her on her head, she didn't say squat. She laid there and cried like a little chick, okay? D Brown, calm down, man. She got choke slammed that didn't do squat. And that little take foul. D Brown, do you know basketball at all, man? That's my question to some of these people. Yeah, I don't know basketball. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the race thing. It shouldn't have been a racial issue in the first place, okay? No, she got up her skills, okay? I don't give a shit about the rebounds. If it takes if you have to shoot three layups to make one, you need to work on your skills, okay? You need to work on your skills. I don't care if you get 5 rebounds, okay? If you go 60% underneath the hoop, you get a rebound and put it back in. That's what you want. You got to work on your skills. No, she thinks 39% from the field at 5 feet. That's the problem. Anyway, Jason Whitlock and Marcellus Wiley actually talk about the RG3 thing and the Caitlin Clark thing. That's why I want to play it, because they're actually going to go over all the thing. More people would watch Megan play ball. Not really. Okay? Not really. If Caitlin Clark wasn't in the league, Angel Reese would just be another WNBA basketball player. That's all she would be. She is not. She is not that good. Okay. In fact, she's horrible. Reese is silently thanking Caitlin Clark for fouling her. Otherwise, she would have misshot another open shot in the lane. That's hilarious. Somebody said that. In fact, some man said that. If she had just let her go, she probably would have missed the layup. All right, let's go ahead and fire this up. It's your favorite coon, okay, Jason Whitlock. And he loves this race stuff. So we're going to go to him and Marcellus Wiley. Marcellus Wiley from Compton, okay, is going to go over this.
Watching you crisscross the globe, meet with foreign leaders, there's part of me. All right, welcome back. We're about to be joined by Marcellus Wiley. I want to whet your appetite for Marcellus Wiley. Let's play SOT number 4. This is Ryan Clark talking about his milk comments about RG3 and his praise of black women. Let's start there. Play the clip.
When I worked with RG3, he would make all of these sort of corny jokes about milk and how much he loved it and how important it was. And he always points out on social media the color of his wife's skin, as if the color of her skin is what makes her special, as if the color of her skin is what makes her a good wife. I've met the lady, I've had a conversation with her. Right. I think she's more than that. But it also leads to what Black women deal with a lot from Black men who have chose to date or marry outside of their race. They always feel
here we go. Okay, here we go. Here comes a simp chip.
Like they have to go the extra mile to prop up the woman that they're married or the woman that they're with over Black women by denigrating Black women. I feel like we should have an opportunity to move past that and understand that Angel Reese can be great in her own right, as Caitlin Clark is as well.
So that's Ryan Clark basically arguing that if you criticize Angel Reese, you're actually criticizing all Black women.
Yeah. In other words, what Angel Reese and his comment on Angel Reese has nothing to do with who he dates, okay? Has nothing to do with who he dates.
And RG3 is doing this because, he married a white woman. And he likes to joke about being married to a white woman, and he likes to joke about his preference for whole milk. This is America. If he likes whole milk, he can have, if he likes skim milk, he can brag about that. He likes 2% milk. If he likes chocolate milk, he can brag about that. It's America. Anyway, I wanted to bring Marcellus Wiley into the conversation because Marcellus was one of the first people who reacted to Ryan Clark's criticism of RG3 by pointing out that at one point, Ryan Clark, he liked whole milk.
He did. To say that he didn't would be a lie.
In fact, he planted a seed in some whole milk and has a daughter.
Ooh.
Who's 2% or
50%. Okay, half and half, huh?
It's skim milk at this point. I guess we'd have to call it that. Anyway, Marcellus, your reaction to Ryan Clark, who I guess is now lactose intolerant and has abandoned his love of milk. Anyway, your reaction.
First of all, it's great to see you, Jason. I'm glad we're reuniting the band once again. Oh, my friend, let me tell you this.
But basically, Ryan Clark is becoming a pander bear, okay?
My grandmother told me a long time ago, don't try and make sense out of nonsense. And I guess right now I'm not listening to my grandmother because I'm going to try and make some sense out of what Ryan Clark was trying to state. Yeah, let's say a few months ago, Ryan Clark was opening up on his Pivot podcast, and he was talking about his kids. And as he described his kids, and this is the first time I ever knew this, heard of this, he described them by their color and complexion, but he also talked about one kid, his oldest kid, that was biracial. And I never knew that Ryan Clark had a white baby mother. Now, knowing that, it makes a ton of sense in terms of his social commentary, especially on racial issues. For whatever reason, if I want to be stereotypical, if I want to actually generalize right now in this moment, a lot of people who have issue with their identity racially, whether it's they've been questioned before, they journey to the other side, whatever it may be, they have an insecurity. What happens is a lot of times they want to go out there and overcompensate for their blackness. They want to double down on their black card because they went through that racial identity crisis. And that just sums up Ryan Clark to me in a nutshell in terms of this issue. And
KMS $2 for the ancient comment. The black woman is gold tax.
A lot of the times when we see him racially pandering, he just has this conversation always slanted towards race, even when it's not necessary. So coming at RG3 and really using his wife as a conduit to get to RG3 and undermining his blackness, I thought was out of bounds. So, you know me, I'm gonna call it out. And at the same time, hopefully Ryan Clark will understand that he could attack these issues for the issue and not for trying to attack somebody's character because of their marital choice.
It's very few people are like me, unmarried and have no kids. And so that gives me a freedom to be, I think, more.
So basically you're a spinster.
More transparent because I ain't got no kids and I'm sitting out there, well, how are they going to be treated at school when daddy says this kind of stuff in public? But I want to be transparent and honest about what you just said. If it wasn't for my racial insecurity that relates to idolize my father, and my father hated the fact that I dated white women. And so for a long time, I would be like, well, I'll get married when my father dies. Literally, those thoughts ran through my mind. And then when he passed, and it's not that he was near death or anything, but I used to just think that way. But when he passed, I still wouldn't pull the trigger on it because I was like, I don't want people questioning me and what I'm saying based on who my wife is. And so there's a couple of women I should have married, but I denied myself that because of my racial insecurities and how I thought people would judge me. And what I've come to find out is like, it don't even matter if I'm not married to a white woman. Black people are going, well, you're too conservative, you're too Christian, you're too something. If they don't want to hear it, they're going to come up with some justification, and it doesn't matter who your wife is. And so I just say all that to say that there is a mental Olympics along race that black people have to go through, and sometimes it compromises our ability to do what we want or say what we want.
Oh, absolutely, man. I've seen it.
You know, when the politicians are, the thing is, and this is something, a question I was asked, I think it was yesterday, okay? You see Kamala Harris and all these other black female politicians and judges and stuff like that with white spouses, right, okay? Could Barack Obama have run for president, even run for president, with a white wife? Could Barack Obama have, even today, have done what Kamala Harris did in 2024?
It since birth. It seems like since conscious thought, I see people who overstate their blackness, and they do it in the guise of, I'm acting black, like the black culture. I'm down with the culture. And when you start to see people who try to act a certain way, you already know they acting.
And say, let the MAGA protection program initiate for the black woman. Okay, she is God. Okay.
And that comes with the insecurity, the act. One reason that I always just stand 10 toes down and say what I feel, and I know at times I get called out of pocket and out of name, and I don't care, is because I really know who I am. Like, there's no conversation about me racially. So I can really attack these issues and take all the excuses off the board and then say, now we got to talk about the real issue at hand. When you see Ryan Clark and you hear his commentary, you start to realize there's something deeply rooted that's insecure about his commentary. A lot of these situations don't even need a racial conversation attached to it. What we're seeing with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is just good old-fashioned rivalry. And even though they're not on the same level in terms of their basketball talents, they are pretty close in terms of the attention that they garner. So I look at it like, when you're Ryan Clark, why are you trying to make all these issues racial? And then that was really the last piece of the puzzle that solved it for me. I just don't like a world where we have skewed the truth. We don't say the truth anymore. We say my truth. And then we go even further, and all we care.
And then my truth is a feminist trope, which is post-structuralist, which is standpoint epistemology that the feminists had, especially the black feminists, have introduced into the lexicon, right? So now it's my truth.
Care about is likability. So if Jason Whitlock says something, I don't give a damn if it's the truth. I don't like Jason Whitlock, so therefore I don't believe the truth. It happens with me, and it's just everyone out there. And I saw it in sports commentary. When you like the player, all of a sudden you prop them up. Let me give you a loose example. There are too many.
Reese can't play ball. She has a spot on the Diddy team. She might have been to a Diddy party already. You never know.
Times when someone falls short of winning the championship, Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals, AFC Championship, NFC Championship. They fall short, but we like that player. We say, oh, he had a damn good season. But then we see a player who wins it all, let's say when LeBron is the villain, and then we say, I don't really like LeBron right now, so that's a bubble ring. So literally because of achievement, we can discard somebody because we don't like them. And that's where our world has really turned, and I think social media gave us the connectivity to make that happen, to change the truth into just what I like. And that echo chamber just continues to go.
Let me show Ryan Clark some grace and ask this question sincerely, but I think it falls on Ryan Clark to acknowledge this. Angel Reese made her name at LSU. Ryan Clark played football at LSU.
Okay.
He likely has some sort of passion for her because she's an LSU grad, and he probably has some connection to her because she's an LSU grad. And so maybe this is all personal. It's like I assume that he talked.
He's pandering. He's pandering for money, okay? He's a sports version of Dr. Umar.
To Angel Reese, communicates with her in some capacity. He's a high-profile ESPN personality. He's an LSU grad. He has some sort of connection. Maybe he's just over the top here because of his personal connection to Angel Reese, it's no different. Me and Jeff George grew up together, and so I was very defensive about his NFL career. But I always made sure people to know, like, hey, man, I grew up with this dude. I love him, love his family, and so take my opinion with a grain of salt. Ryan Clark's not doing that.
No, he's not doing that. And I have no problem with Ryan Clark. I just have a problem with panderers. That's a deep story for me, and I can get into it if you'd like to, but I just don't like anyone.
Say it again, black man. I just said it. Say it again, black man. I have a problem with panderers, okay? Call them a panda bear, okay? Obama couldn't run for class president with a white girlfriend, let alone a spouse. I'm sure he has some milk for his coffee on the side to keep him sane. He might have. Because from my understanding, okay? From my understanding, I can't swear by it, okay? Michelle Obama is the only black woman that Barack Obama has ever dated. From what we know, okay? She's the first and only. So let that sink in. Let's see. You know damn well Obama wouldn't have won the presidency with a white girl or a white wife. Cut it out. I'm asking a question, okay? I'm asking a question. Marcellus Wiley speaking from the black minister with that one. Yeah, that's right. He's a pander bear.
Please do.
I don't like anybody who panders because that person, that group doesn't need to be protected, right? The strong thrive and the rest survive. So where I'm from, a lot of people had these labels on. Are you from Compton? Are you from the hood, et cetera? You are A, B, or C. And I was like, dog, the only box I'm in is no box. I'm who I am. I don't need to be represented, and I only represent me. And people used to always come at me crazy, like, what are you talking about? Like, we all of us. And I'm like, dog, I'm in class with you. We don't study the same. I'm on the team with you. We don't play the same. So when you want to do all this weak stuff, I hear you, but that's really pulling you up because I know I'm going to do my part. So I'm big on accountability. I'm big on self-responsibility. That doesn't mean I don't know my blackness. Doesn't know I don't know if I'm black. Yes, but I'm going to represent individually so that the group can say, that's one example of us. So everything I do is black. And that's how it goes. And I look at the Ryan Clark, as you made the association with Angel Reese, and I say, you can just come out and say, that's the homie, that's my girl from LSU, that's a tiger, I got to look out for her. I ain't got a problem with that. I get it. Look out. But the problem I have is when you attach it to the historical plight of the black woman, how when someone says anything about her, you take her and put her in bubble wrap and say, do you know what black women have been through?
Yeah, and what black women have been through has nothing to do with the game, okay? And you make the what happened on the court a bigger issue than it should have been. Okay, it should have been left right there. The refs made a call. The refs made a call. I don't agree with it. I know that flagrant foul. I was telling the Snowman at the time it was political because they knew they were going to get this foul out, so they at least had to give Caitlin Clark a flagrant, a technical. Okay, at least. Is because if you didn't, it was blown up even worse than it is now. That's why they did it. I was telling Snowman that's why they did it.
Yeah, and if you want to take that, Ryan Clark, and say what black women have been through, that ain't what Angel Reese has been through. Angel Reese was a millionaire in college. I wasn't. Raise your hand if you were. Nope, put your hand down. Ryan Clark and I combined income. Angel Reese made that in college and is making way more than that right now.
Wow.
Angel Reese is in a whole different world and realm in terms of the historical plight of the black woman. But that doesn't mean she can't be angry. That doesn't mean she can't be jealous, envious, and resentful of Caitlin Clark for many reasons. So you can see through her play, she wants all the smoke with Caitlin Clark. But you can also see through Caitlin Clark's play, she doesn't want any of that smoke. She just wants to go out there and get her ball on. That's not racial. We've seen it too many times in sports where there's been rivalries, hatred between players. And it's not because that player is looking at someone racially. Michael Jordan used to be selfish. Then he became the face of the NBA. There was a time when you looked at...
So Reese has reposted the Vesta Swirler content. Yep. I'm sure she has, okay? And basically she's a... we use actors and celebrities and sports people as symbols, okay? There's a deeper underlying thing that's going on behind that. And Ryan Clark knows that if he sticks up for Angel Reese, the black women will come in and start supporting him. He's pandering. Said, B, just stop the show. Where the likes at? All right, you guys, hit my like button. If you can't give me $1, give me a like, okay?
Kobe Bryant,
Gnostics do not beg for dollars, but we do beg for likes, okay?
Was the McDonald's man and Dayton Brandy and Mr. Coca-Cola. Then Colorado happens. And then all of a sudden he goes dark and he's a black mamba.
Yeah.
Then you look up again, he's a hero again because he's a girl dad. They all go through this if they're going to reach the pinnacle. Floyd Mayweather was pretty boy. Floyd Mayweather was the guy that we all felt bad for who lost in the Olympics. Then he also became Money May, who you loved or you loved to hate. So to protect Angel Reese from the plight of black women is disingenuous. Secondly, it's not doing her any favors, because if she wants to get to the top, she wants to get to the throne where right now Asia Wilson sits or Caitlin Clark sits, she gonna have to go through the fire. And if I'm Ryan,
she better get in that gym and do some work, okay? Okay, you can't. I mean, when you have problems with basic layups, okay, that a sixth grader should be able to make, then you have issues, and that's I don't mind people cheering for Angel Reese, but the thing is, she's a basketball player, and what she plays is not really basketball.
Clark, I'll let her go through that fire so she can get as high as she can go.
I want to ask you this, kind of whet people's appetite. Tomorrow, I feel pretty confident we're going to have Isaiah Thomas on, and we're going to talk about the rivalry between himself and Michael Jordan. And some people have compared that to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. I don't like the comparison because I don't think Angel Reese is on Isaiah Thomas's level. But
no.
I do know that Isaiah and the Pistons felt like, hey man, the NBA favors Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
The NBA is inventing and massaging the rules to favor Michael Jordan. They're favoring Chicago over a smaller market like Detroit. They don't like our style of bad boys basketball. And that fueled that rivalry. And there was, I wouldn't say hatred, but there was like, man, he's by fans. But so there is where I felt like the Isaiah Michael deal was mostly healthy, and where it got toxic, in my view, was on Michael Jordan's side, keeping him off the Olympic team and still holding on to that hatred now. But what do you think of?
You did the same thing with Caitlin Clark on the Olympic team, so.
The analogy between Caitlin and Angel Reese, analogizing them to Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, I think it's loose. I feel what you're saying. A lot of people go.
Appreciate you, Andrew.
Go to Magic and Bird, and you can see maybe some stronger parallels. But the thing with the Michael Jordan and whatever, see, I don't dance around the word hatred. And I understand it's a strong word, but in sports, its subordinate words or its synonyms are envy, resentment, jealousy. Like, you don't sit there and overreact to another player unless you either hate them, jealous, envious, resent them, dislike them. And to me, that's all in the same world. But I'm not trying to sit here and have to get into all those particulars. But there is some smoke between these two. But it's a one-way street of smoke. It's Angel Reese to Caitlin Clark. And I think everyone notices that. And you're not a sellout if you're a black person who states that. And you're not racist if you're a white person that states that. But that's the narrative. So when you get to Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan, the reason why it probably didn't reach these heights or really get ugly, and that includes when Michael Jordan excluded him from the Olympic team, is because Michael Jordan had the power. Michael Jordan was the winner of that battle, despite Isaiah getting the best of Jordan on the court at times, especially in those playoff series. So the one with the hammer is the one that gets to nail it in. And if Caitlin Clark were to ever return this smoke, that's when you're going to have to return. You're going to have to protect Angel Reese. But right now, it's like Isaiah in those days, just always barking and coming at Michael Jordan. You know how that's going to sound. People going to be like, because it was black on black, we didn't have the racial undertones, but people going to be like, dog, you ain't him. You're close to him, but you ain't him.
You ain't him, yeah. Angel Reese is not even in that league. You ain't her.
So why you keep trying to punch up? And then Michael Jordan been looking bad for punching down. But when you're the winner, like Michael Jordan, you get to dictate the rules. Caitlin Clark is not even trying to dictate the rules, even though she's the winner in this back and forth. So it's loose to me. I understand where you were going, but it's a little too loose.
Let me ask you this. Is saying that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark, is that harsh criticism of Angel Reese? What I think would be harsh is if RG3 had said Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark and all white players. That's harsh. If Angel Reese wants to hate Caitlin Clark, she can do that. I don't think that's a harsh criticism of Angel Reese, and that's why I feel like Ryan Clark and a lot of these people have overreacted. They're competitors in sports. Angel Reese wants the attention and the skill and the future that Caitlin Clark has, and she's let it turn into some level of hatred. We've seen that before. That's human behavior. It's a human flaw. I just don't see it as harsh criticism.
No, I don't see it that way either. And to that point, Ryan Clark knows that, and he overreacted. Who used to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Lord knows you can't watch a Pittsburgh Steelers Ravens game without the whole week you're hearing about the hatred between those two teams and the rivalry, right? And at times they would get particular about individual players in those matchups. And we all get that. It's within sports. It's between the white lines. We're not saying meet up at the club tonight. We're saying at 1 o'clock kickoff, they hate each other. And I've seen it time and time again, to the point that today on hydration situation, I did a video and I showed people with actual quotes, times where other commentators said that another player hated another player. Had like 10 examples, including Shaq hates Kobe and Kobe hates Shaq.
Oh yeah, and when they were playing, they did hate each other. Phil Jackson said that when Kobe first came to the Lakers, the first couple of years, Shaq hated Kobe. I mean, hated him, hated his guts. And Phil had to come to their rescue. Phil had to come and counsel Shaq on that. You know, when they won a championship, okay, Shaq finally started to relax and started to get relieved. But for the first 2-3 years with Kobe being there, Shaq hated Kobe. So he's right.
Simmons, he said that. Did we all of a sudden turn that into civil war? No. I guess it's okay when black people can hate black people. That's a different topic. But you know, when it's white and black, all of a sudden it gets out of control and we lose context. We're talking about sports. We're talking about when you're between the lines. We're not talking about, oh, she gonna see her after in the tunnel and it's on. We know the theatrics that existed and that was a part of that play. When Caitlin Clark was looking at the referee like, you're not gonna call that foul? Well, I gotta foul her to make sure she doesn't get this layup. And then all hell broke loose if you let Angel Reese have her way.
Yes.
Hold me back, hold me back.
Hold me back. He laughing. That's a California thing, but basically, you don't really want to fight, so it's basically hold me back.
I look at sports like it's a protected space. I don't care your color, because the reason I got into football, and the first day I was in that huddle and I put my hand in that huddle and I looked around and I saw all these different complexions and different looking hands and different sizes of guys. I was like, damn, he from over there on the west side. He from the east side. He from a different city. And I didn't have brothers growing up. So I loved how sports brought us all together. And I'd be damned if these panderers are going to win this conversation because we got to protect her from the plight of...
We got to protect her from the plight of the white Indiana fans.
Yesteryear's sisters. If you are angry, and if you're black and you're a woman and somebody's smart enough to call you an angry black woman, it is, or it ain't. But that's on your behavior. Nobody woke up and said, Angel Reese, you're an angry black woman. But if you show that type of behavior time and time again, some people are going to call you that. Now, go out there and outperform it if you really got a problem with it.
And Marcellus, I want to ask this final question, but I want to give you the right to fair catch and be like, nah, I'm not gonna return this punt. I'm not gonna return this kickoff. You can fair catch and be like, nah, no, I don't want to do that, because this is a curveball and it's bringing Anna Marie into the conversation in some regards. And so here's and Anna Marie is Marcellus's wife. So Ryan Clark has this African American baby with the white woman before he got with his current wife, and I'm just wondering, because Ryan Clark put out some statement on Twitter about, I know why I said it, I know who I am, and I know who I said it for. And so
that's the Hotep, okay? When Kobe first got there, because Kobe is this spoiled brat, basically private school kid, and Shaq is, Shaq is he's an army brat, but he's kind of a little bit more of a ghetto dude, okay? They couldn't stand each other when they first got together. And that was before they won a championship, and that was before Kobe got married. It had nothing to do with Kobe cheating on his wife. That was a different story, okay? Although Shaq did have a right to actually say something about it, but Colorado had nothing to do with Shaq hating Kobe. Shaq hated Kobe well before that.
I think he's insinuating he's speaking for black women and perhaps even his wife. And so I'm wondering if Anna Marie thinks that you have some calling or some necessariness where you have to speak for all black women. You have to represent for her. If a black woman gets criticized, you must stand up and speak out for all black women because Angel Reese got criticized. Or, and again, this is where we're getting speculative.
See, Ryan Clark's trying to get that smoke because they got a big boost with the, every time there's this controversy like this, they get a big boost.
Where I'm saying you can fair catch it because I haven't thought this all the way through. Or is perhaps Ryan Clark's situation a bit different? He's married to a black woman. He has this African-American baby, and I don't say that as a pejorative. You've set up and listened to me say who I probably would have married. RG3 gets from his wife. I'm wondering if Ryan Clark, because he has this extra baby with a white woman, if there's a certain level of feedback he gets in his home, and that's why he has to put on his...
That's a good question. It's a good question. I don't know. I don't think so.
Superman cape if any black woman gets criticized.
Yeah, I totally get where you're going. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I won't fair catch this one. I'll take off running. I might not get many yards, but I'm out. Let's go. Let me say this, just to start it all off. None of us should speak for all of us. And I think in this world right now, because everyone wants representation, that's the slippery slope where all of a sudden you find yourself in a place thinking, oh, I have the microphone, I have the platform, so I'm going to speak for all those who are not heard. And that's disingenuous, and that is actually damaging. Representation to me looks like this. Someone looks like me, someone's from where I'm from, someone has something kindred to me to the point where it encourages me, gives me confidence to go do it myself. Jason, I wasn't born like that. When I looked around, I didn't see anybody doing what I wanted to do. So I decided to just do it. And anybody who's ever been first, whether you're the first to graduate college or a pioneer of yesteryear, whatever you want to be, it's not based on representation because nobody is there representing you. I didn't know anybody that went to Columbia. And guess what? I was like, I'm going to Columbia. Yeah. And it didn't matter. So I just want to make sure that people understand, don't get lost in representation. You could be the first, etc. Now, I think Ryan Clark is at home. And as he speculated on what RG3 is doing at home with his white wife, let's
got a Slauson cap on.
speculate about what he's doing at home with his black wife. I think that knowing how my wife is and the arguments we have at times where we disagree, and my best example is Black Lives Matter when it first hit. I guess that's 2020. And when it first hit, you're going down the street and you just see these large groups and gatherings, right? And they're telling you to honk in support, et cetera. And I remember we were still working together, right? So I'm going down the street and my wife, we're at a red light and she hits me. And I'm like, what's up? And I'm looking at the gathering like she is. She says, honk. I was like, honk? Honk for what? And she's like, honk for the Black Lives Matter. I was like, why? I'm already black and I know my life matters. Why I got to honk? I don't know what they are representing.
That's true.
I know what they are saying, but I don't know what they're representing. So let me do some homework and research before I start honking. But a lot of times you get pulled into, this is where Ryan Clark may be. Mm-hmm. You get pulled into that guilt of you have platform, you have a microphone, you have resources, you have made it. You are an outlier, whatever that may sound like. And Ryan Clark is like, yo.
Is that the one? Which one? Slauson's a long street. Talking about the one near the Slauson swap meet?
Well, I got to speak for my people, but then I got to put some extra sauce on it because I do have a white baby mother we have a black kid, and that may bring some angst in the home. It may not if he has come to a reasonable understanding of the beauty of his child and the beauty of that relationship. But if he's looking at it through just racial tones and through racial idolatry, he's not. He's going to have an issue and he's going to overcorrect. He's going to overcompensate because he has a black woman now and he's been married to her when he started off and has a child with a white woman. To me, it's just silliness, man. Going back to the original statement.
The best donuts are where the big donut signs are.
Man, you can't make sense out of nonsense. You can't undermine RG3's blackness if you're Ryan Clark. And then at the same time, want to base it on he has a white wife, but then you have a white baby mama, which means you have a half black, half white baby. And then that baby's going to grow up and then all of a sudden she can only speak on some black issues. A few black issues, not all black issues. You can't make it make sense. And that's why I stand here and I just talk through it. I'm like, I want to encourage the silent majority out there, which is people like me who like enough with the racial talk, like enough with you over there pandering. Angel Reese is doing amazing. Angel Reese is in the WNBA when it's surging and is one of the faces of the league and makes millions of dollars.
Makes millions of dollars. She makes a ton of money. And that's one of the reasons why she try to keep this crap going.
if you're going to talk about the plight of the black woman, why don't you go grab somebody really in that realm and not use Angel Reese to pander for?
Exactly. Because those other women don't get clicks and views.
I want to hit a few other topics more quickly because, one, I think you might have something interesting, funny to say about Bill Belichick.
Okay.
Legendary.
Okay. Well, I think they're done with that. Let's see if there's anything else. Nah. Let's see. Okay. Let's try this one. Angel Reese says manufacture racial hoax. Let's try that.
Organization that really supports me and loves me is something I couldn't imagine not being a part of.
What do you think the league's response just coming out right away and getting that investigation going?
Yeah, obviously, like I said, they understand that this is the priority. Obviously, there's no place for this, and they preach. I think 2 days before they put out no hate, no speech. And obviously, the women in this league, they know that, and know there's no space for that. And I believe that every player in this league deserves to be treated with respect and want to come to work and just have fun and have a great environment to work at. So I think they've done a great job.
If you are a ball player, you're gonna get heckled. Okay, you're gonna get heckled. Okay, if somebody was doing something, basically that racially charged, basically they'd have walked them out of the stadium. You'd have pointed them out, they'd have walked them out of the stadium. It didn't happen. It don't work that way.
Putting that out, and we're obviously just going to respond to baby.
Were you able to give them kind of details of where where the general vicinity was? You heard stuff.
That's not a big question.
Yeah. Oh, she did. Okay. Sorry.
What would you like the league to do with those players?
She's already answered this as well. We'll move on to the next.
Angel, we'll be offering that though.
Thank you.
I don't know, and I've heard this, listen to this yesterday, but that last series of questions, when she ducked, so like, because she admitted earlier, well, it's kind of tough to hear when the game's going on and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because nothing happened. And if something did happen, she didn't hear it. Nothing happened to her other than she gets to nail herself to a cross and pretend like she's a victim. Oh, no one should have to go through it. Oh, and it's tough being me, but God's protecting me from these noises and these crazy Indiana Fever fans. This is the hatred of Caitlin Clark. She's irate with Caitlin Clark. She hates Caitlin Clark, and she's trying to pawn it off. Okay.
I don't know if it's as much hatred as the only way she can really get attention. There's only two ways she gets really a lot of attention. Her missing layups and people talking about how bad she is, and the rivalry between her and Caitlin Clark. If Caitlin Clark was not in the league, she would not be even looked at as a player. So she makes millions of dollars on controversy, okay? And I think WNBA, which I don't like, feeds into it because I think me and Snowman said this, okay? Most of your casual female fans don't like basketball per se, especially black female fans. They don't like basketball per se, but the thing is, guess what they do like? They like what? They like drama and clothes, okay? Guess what Angel Reese is selling? She's selling drama and she's selling clothes. That's how she makes her money. She's an influencer because black women see her as fighting the white women and the white fans on the court. So that's how come she's an icon, and they think she's cute enough to sell off her clothes. All she does is walk around in skimpy clothes like Megan Thee Stallion, sell her clothes, sell her influence, and then keep the controversy going because the rivalry between her and Caitlin Clark keeps her in the news. It keeps black women upset. If they're upset and they like drama, they're gonna pay her. I think that's what's happening. Yep. Yeah, Yeechies love drama. Yes, they do. She brings the VH1 demographics. She brings the BET demographics. That's what she brings. Ain't no VH1 BET. Angel Reese uses victimization for attention, her body for attention, her attitude for attention, her blackness for attention, everything else but skill. Oh wait, yeah, well, because attention pays. Okay, she even skipped out on some workouts because she needed to walk the red carpet. That's where attention is. Turn on a WNBA game and most of the audience is male, not female. It used to be, but I think it's starting to turn is because white girls and black girls have picked a side, so they come out to see the white girls and the black girls. It's because of the drama that's going on. So I'm not an expert, but apparently Angel Reese is a mediocre basketball player. My prediction: as soon as her basketball career is over, nobody's going to care about her wanting to be a model. We'll see. You can never predict. You can never predict. Okay. But I can see an OnlyFans account in her future. That's what I can see. She got legs, that's for sure. She got legs and a nice little booty. Play ball or play with balls. Choose one. You know, whatever the black woman will buy, she probably make way more money doing what she's doing than if she was actually a good player. WNBA will be on Zeus next season. Anyhow, final questions. Is there one more I wanted to play? I don't think there's one more I wanted to play because this stuff is all over the place. I just wanted to touch on it. I'm sure there's tons more. There's tons more. Because if you look at it, let's play this last one. This is Stephen A. talking about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Okay, this will be the last one. This will be the last cut because, like I said, this is silly. To me, this is silly. I said CC went through the gauntlet last year, and the public at large didn't come to her defense. It got cut down racial lines. Okay, white people did come to her defense. They really did. Okay, in the comment sections and Twitter, it's drawn down racial lines. It is what it is. Okay, and I think Angel Reese is pissed off because Caitlin Clark is making more money off her than she is.
If Angel Reese was never in Caitlin Clark's face, taunting her the way that she did when they mimicking what Caitlin Clark was doing to numerous opponents en route to the Final Four, and then Angel Reese and LSU bust their living, you know what, at that particular moment in time, and Angel Reese was in her face chirping at her the way that she did, it would have never gotten to this point. But I have never deemed that to be a bad thing. I love that kind of confrontation. I love that kind of heat. But there are white folks in America that had
white folks got mad when CC gave black women love. No, they didn't. Not really.
A problem with Angel Reese coming at the chosen one, Caitlin Clark, that way. And because of that, they acted with a level of vitriol. How do we know that? Because Angel Reese came back to college the following year. And one of the things that reduced her to tears was the vitriol that she was receiving from around the country because people were hating on her because of her elevated popularity and the fact that she had gone at Caitlin Clark that way. So now we come to the WNBA. No fault of Caitlin's at all. But in the end, because of her greatness and because people were resistant to accepting her greatness the way which I have articulated on many occasions, you have people using that as an excuse to throw vitriol at other people. But in the end, here's what I say. That's contributed to Angel Reese becoming a household name, according to along with the fact she's a rebounder demon. The girl she grabs the rebound, she can play. But that's elevated her level of popularity. And what I would say to all of y'all is this: as a person that's covered the NBA and grew up watching the NBA, no matter how great Michael Jordan was, obviously, it started with Bird versus Magic. Yeah, you could talk about Showtime versus Boston, but that white superstar losing in that national championship game to that dude called Magic at Michigan State when he was at Indiana State, and then ultimately coming into the NBA, and they constantly met in the finals about 3 times, and they owned most of the 80s in terms of the 2 teams respectively. The bottom line is it contributed to elevating the popularity. So Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, embrace this. It's okay.
Yeah,
because all y'all do is competing.
Yeah, really quick. I think as much as sports, our community, right? There are also some lines that carry through sports in terms of our cultural experience in this country, right? And I'm with you, S.A. There are differences in these 2 women, how they show up, the folks that are diehard fans of theirs, and I think it's all fine. My ask in all of this is just respect as a base level, right? Respect both of these women as athletes, respect the humanity of both of these women, and as I said, allow them to compete. Now,
that means Angel Reese got to pay them those mortgage notes, okay? So she got to keep the controversy going.
The WNBA and the other stuff that has come behind this, that's a separate issue. But I do think on this level, it's love here, it's respect here. These are both great athletes.
I'm so glad you said that, because apparently the respect is not happening.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to go, because the WNBA released this statement, guys. The WNBA strongly condemns racism, hate, and discrimination in all forms. They have no place in our league or in our society. We are aware of the allegations and looking into the matter. These were the hateful fan comments during the Fever's home win against the Sky. Renee, your reaction.
So this is a reaction from last year, some of the issues that the players brought up. We are used to.
They're fans, okay? They're fans. As long as they're not going overboard, and as long as they're not trying to get on the court and fight you, okay? They're they pay their ticket. They can say what they want within reason, okay? And if the players are saying it to each other, that might be a little different. But the thing is, you can't check the fans on what on what they say, and most of the stuff they're saying is not even at the arena. It's actually on social media.
You're hearing all kinds of things under the sun when you are a professional athlete, but some things like making death threats or just wishing some things ill, players that are suffering through illness or trying to recover, like coming up and trying to ruin their mental health intentionally.
Don't play. Well, don't get on the court. Okay, if you can't, this is okay. This is what I hate about women coming into sports. Okay, sports is not a protected space. Okay, a professional sports is not a protected space. Okay, amateur sports. You want to go to the Pop Warner League or Park League basketball? Okay, yeah. Okay, it's a protected space, but this is not. Okay, you get paid. You get paid to deal with this.
In a way that threatens themselves as professionals. Like the players addressed it last year. And in response, on draft night, the WNBA announced that they have a task force to help, move forward with positivity when it comes to the rhetoric. And we saw when the WNBA season started, all of the teams put out these statements saying, we have no place for hate in this game. The number one thing is respect. Now it is tested, so early in the season, because what people are saying is that what was said or allegedly heard was out of bounds. And now the league, I'm happy, is investigating it.
And everybody there said it never happened, including the coach on the bench. It never happened. This is what happens when you get females mixed up in sports, okay, with their drama. It never happened.
As a move forward from what the issues were from last year to now better correct them moving forward. I'll lastly say this. When you see that statement about how there should be no racism, no hateful rhetoric, if you have an issue with that statement, take a look in the mirror. Why are you there?
Naima, I'm going to tell you, okay? If women will actually fight quicker than men will. Women will actually start a brawl quicker than men will. Say if you don't catch them, okay? You don't catch them off the bench, okay? Then women will actually go out there and brawl if you let them, okay? Hell, they'll fight during warm-ups if you let them. Women actually fight more than men do.
Why are you here? If you're saying, oh, well, this is like, we should all agree. This should not be a debate. And if you are a part of a group of fans where, all right, like this happened in my arena, you should not want to condone that type of thing. Mm-hmm. We've seen it in all professional sports. We've seen multiple statements like this happen in different leagues. So if you see that, you should stand by it instead of criticizing it or feeling insecure about it. And I think that's the most important thing.
Before you jump in, Monica, I just want to make clear that the context of these remarks weren't entirely clear. I just want to make sure we have that on the record as we discuss it.
Yeah, but and kudos to the league. They're making a point to support and believe their players, right? We're at least going to look into it if our players said that they weren't.
Believe all women, right?
Look, and you've been a part of the rise of the W in the last 3 seasons or so. I really grapple with, is this the other side of the coin in terms of the attention, right? But I'm with Janae in terms of a base level of the respect of humanity and of these athletes that are competing at a high level. I will say this, though. We have seen in the NBA, guys turn to a ref and say that's out of bounds. And folks are asked to leave the arena. And so I think the respect for competition, the respect for sport, the respect for one another extends beyond the players that are on the floor.
And if she heard it, she could have done exactly the same thing, okay? Exactly the same thing. If somebody is going overboard and constantly haranguing her with stuff that's out of bounds, she could have gone to the refs. They could have gone to the security that has escorted that person out of the arena. They would have. That's why I know she didn't hear it, because her ass would have gone to the refs, would have gone to the arena and to security and pointed that person out. That's why it's bullshit. Anyway.
And I applaud the WNBA for taking active steps to make sure that their players feel heard and safe.
And I'd be remiss to not use the opportunity that Stephen A. guaranteed me when we have conversations like this to also talk about the hoop. Because New York Liberty, they looked amazing. They looked like they were poised to repeat. We were there for ring night. Natasha Cloud had a huge impact. The team that was one of the best offensive teams in the WNBA now looks like one of the best defensive teams. Kelsey Plum had a historic debut for the Golden State Valkyries home opener as a member of the Los Angeles.
All right. That's WNBA hoops. Okay. Kelsey Plum actually did ball out. I just hope she continues. Okay. And those 2 new players for the Fever, y'all got to step it up. Okay. 6 points between the 2 of you. You guys supposed to be vets. Y'all got to step it up. Come on now. I said, knowing Angel Reese's attitude and her soft skin, we would have known if she would have. Yeah, she would have. Stephen A. letting them call him essays is diabolical. Well, they're friends, so they're colleagues. Anyhow, let me go ahead and get out of here, and I'll check you guys later. See, too many cell phones not to catch any. There is. The people in the stands, the coaches, nobody heard anything, okay? So I don't know where she's getting it from. And women, too, tend to make shit up, okay? So I question it, okay? I question it. But for the league to go overboard, like Indiana's not a safe place to play, give me a break, okay? Give me a break. Well, all them black players are on that team, give me a break. Anyhow, let me get out of here, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be, I think we're going to be talking about, it's something fun about black women wanted to, and their fear of missing out, and how come they don't get married, like probably as early as they should, okay? Even though Psychax is talking about all women, but it's black women in particular. So we're going to do that one tomorrow. And I just did one on my Black Pill Gnostic page, okay, about saying that it's just a think piece, right? Saying that the black manosphere is not a gender war, it's a black male independence movement. So go check that out if you get some time. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So peace out, and you guys stay out of trouble. And speaking of Kobe.
What can I say? Mamba out.
Muzyka Denis 7.